On January 23rd, 2024, Animation Magazine released this article announcing that, quote, Nine Story Media Group announced today it has entered into a co-development agreement with Trustbridge Entertainment on two best-selling children's books from Candlewick Press. The partners plan to co-create new animated programs based on the Judy Moody book series and the holiday picture book, Dasher, How a Brave Little Dog Changed Christmas Forever. Really? Really? Is this for real? Are we actually going to get a Judy Moody animated series? Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Stauffer. I am an indie children's author and illustrator. I created this middle grade chapter book called Meet Zoe Richards. And as a hobby, I read a lot of children's books, and I'm also a children's television enthusiast. So when I found out that somebody is actually going to make a Judy Moody animated series, I was thrilled. I'm very excited about this. So, I've got like 1,000 questions running through my head now. What's this show going to look like? Who's going to be in it? What network is it going to be on? How many episodes is it going to have? Is it going to be new original stories, or are they all going to be based on the books? I have no idea, so please keep in mind that there's no spoilers on this video, obviously, and I literally know nothing, so this video is going to have more questions than answers. But it's just mind-boggling the amount of possibilities that are in store for this. I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately. And what's really shocking is that this announcement was made in January and February of 2024. We're halfway through 2025 now, and nobody said a word about it since, which is really strange because we're in 2025 now. It's the 25th anniversary of the original Judy Moody book, which was published in, you guessed it, 2000. So yeah, Judy Moody has been around for 25 years. It was created by Megan McDonald and illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. And this book revolutionized the world of children's literature forever. It changed everything. It was like a Ramona for the 21st century. It was a really epic, groundbreaking series with realistic situations that both boys and girls can relate to, and it has inspired lots of kids to read and to become writers and do all kinds of cool things, including me. It was very popular during my childhood, but I wasn't really interested in those kinds of chapter books very much. I mean, like in grades 4, 5, and 6, I read a lot of Roald Dahl books, but for some reason the realistic fiction stuff didn't really appeal to me all that much. But a lot of my classmates were Judy Moody fans, and later, after I graduated high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and I started reading some of these books, including Judy Moody and Ramona and Pee-wee Scouts and a bunch of other really cool books too, and I thought, whoa, this is amazing. That's what I want to do. I want to create my own characters and my own stories and maybe make them into a book, which I have successfully done. Sort of. I mean, it's not overly popular yet, but maybe you could change that. My ultimate dream, though, is to hopefully turn my characters into an animated television series of my own. So when I found out Judy Moody's gonna do it, of course, I got super excited. The other thing that inspired me to hopefully do my own TV show was the Old School Lame podcast hosted by Patricia Miranda. She and her friend Kevin did an interview with a man by the name of Jim Jenkins, who was the creator of the Nickelodeon cartoon Doug, among other shows including BB&J Otter and Stanley and JoJo's Circus and a few others. And Jim Jenkins' interview was extremely inspiring to me. He talked about how he used realistic situations and memories from his childhood to create his characters in Doug. And Patricia's friend Kevin thanked Jim Jenkins a million times about how much his show had changed his life and like how great his stories were and everything. I thought that was really awesome, and shortly after hearing that interview, I went to the library and started reading some realistic fiction books, such as Judy Moody, and that's what did it. That's what made me decide that I want to become a writer and do stories of my own, create my own characters. So yeah, Judy Moody has had a very enormous positive impact on kids and adults through the years. There has never been an animated series before, but there has been a movie. In 2011, a feature film was released called Judy Moody and the Not Bummer Summer. Now, this movie has had very mixed reviews. Some people liked it, lots of people weren't too sure about it. This movie is an original story made for the screen, but they also did like a movie tie-in book, like a movie novelization, but then a year later they incorporated that movie novel into the main book series. So book 10 of the main Judy Moody book series is called Judy Moody and the Not Bummer Summer, and it's the same story that's in this movie. Um, I think, I mean, it's not a terrible movie by any means, but, like, if this were a series of movies, and this was, like, one of them, it would be okay, but as far as this being, like, the only Judy Moody movie, I'm not quite sure it really works because the first 6 or 7 books, in my opinion, are the best, and those do a lot more in terms of building Judy as a character, as well as her relationships with her friends and family, and all the day-to-day struggles that she has with her brother Stink and dealing with school assignments and all that stuff. We don't really see a whole lot of that in the movie. It's mostly just a bunch of really crazy shenanigans of her trying to make her summer fun when 2 of her best friends are far away. I mean, it does teach a good lesson that you don't need to travel far away or have all kinds of really high-tech toys to have fun. Just be creative and try to find some ways to have some good old-fashioned fun, and that's great. But I felt like they could have done a lot more in terms of doing a really big feature film. Like, for a TV movie, it's okay. Theatrical, I'm not sure it wasn't quite enough. Hopefully, this upcoming TV series will be much better. So, I wonder, what is this show going to be like? What will it sound like? What kind of actors will be in it? Voice actors? Uh, I've listened to some of the Judy Moody audiobooks. Most of the ones that are currently available were narrated by Robert Rosenblatt. They're okay, but what I really enjoy even more, in case you don't know, there is a spin-off series about Judy Moody's little brother called Stink, and that Stink also has his own series of audiobooks. The first 5 were narrated by legendary voice actress Nancy Cartwright. For those of you who don't know who she is the voice of Bart Simpson, and she also played Chucky on Rugrats. I'm not a huge fan of either of those shows, but Nancy Cartwright's Stink performance was phenomenal. She did like a perfect little kid voice for not only Stink, but also Judy and all of Stink's friends. Like, she nailed it. Those are some of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to in my life. I I doubt if she'll be on this show. It'd be really epic if she was. But after hearing Nancy Cartwright's Stink audiobooks and then seeing the movie was really a letdown. So yeah, if they hire some really good actors who can do kid voices, even though they're adults, that's fine. But if they could do like the traditional Charlie Brown method, where they actually hire real kids to do the kid voices, that might be really great too. Script writing. How healthy will these stories be? Will these characters be good role models for kids? Um, Judy Moody is Obviously, according to you might have guessed from the book's title, it is about moods. It's about Judy dealing with various emotions and navigating through some of the various uh, difficult times or disappointing times that you might experience in your life as an 8-year-old third grader. She, sometimes her attitude is a little bit iffy, but for the most parts, they play it out in a way that's, kind of humorous, not overly disrespectful, and she usually comes up with creative ways to, solve her problems and get a more positive look on things. One of the biggest themes about Judy Moody, of course, is the constant sibling rivalry between Judy and her brother Stink, whose real name is James, but Judy has been calling him Stink ever since he was a baby. Um, Judy and Stink's relationship, I think, in my opinion, is a lot better than the sibling relationship between Arthur and DW, for instance. Like, I mean, DW has an extremely nasty attitude, which a lot of people are not too happy about. Judy and Stink, however, um, their rivalry is not really one driven by hatred. It's more like a friendly competition kind of rivalry because Judy and Stink are very close in age, they have a lot in common, and they're both kind of interested in sciencey stuff, so they do a lot of fun stuff together. They do compete over, like, who's the smartest or who's the coolest and that kind of thing, but they do love each other, they really do. And I think that would be a really cool thing to see on TV, to see those two struggling with their differences, but also finding ways to get along with each other. I think that would be a really good thing for kids to watch. Animation. Will this show be 2D animated or 3D animated? In the movie Not Bummer Summer, there is some animation in there. It's 3D animation. Mind you, this was made in 2011. They tried to make everything 3D animated, all the animated stuff, because people pretty much assumed that 2D was dead by then. But recent years have proven them wrong. 2D animation is beginning to make a huge comeback in children's television. Lots of really good shows today are 2D animated. There's shows on like Disney Channel and Cartoon Network and PBS Kids that are all 2D animated and animated very well, I will say. The 3D animation in Judy Moody and the Not Bummer Summer was not really that great. I mean, it was very cheap looking. It looked like they were putting in 3D animation just for the sake of putting in 3D animation. What they should have done was they should have incorporated uh, Peter Reynolds' classic Fablevision style. Like, he has made some really short animated cartoons based on some of his books, not Judy Moody yet, but some of the books that he's written solo. He's done some little animated pieces for a bunch of other things too, including the early days of the Noggin Children's Network, which was kind of a spin off of Nickelodeon paired up with the Children's Television Workshop. Like in the early days of Noggin, they used to show like classic reruns of like the early Sesame Street and the original Electric Company and all kind of cool stuff like that, along with some popular Nickelodeon shows. But anyway, Peter Reynolds animated a bunch of cute little bumpers for that network, like the openings for little short segments. A lot of the characters on those shorts look like they belong in the Judy Moody universe. So if you go under YouTube and look up like Noggin commercial breaks, 1999, 2000, 2001, you'll probably find some of those in there. You should check that out. That's really cute. Do I have a preference between 2D and 3D? I personally prefer 2D animation, but if they do make it 3D, I'm pretty sure they will make it look a lot better than the stuff they put in the movie. I don't know if they'll make it like totally Pixar slash Disney type quality 3D animation. Maybe they'll do like kind of a stop motion style 3D, kind of like what they did in the Peanuts movie, and also the current Big Nate animated series on Nickelodeon. how many episodes will this show have? In other words, how many years will it last? That's a really good question, because nowadays a lot of animated shows don't last very long, sadly. They only last like about a year or two, with the exception of like PBS kids shows. I mean, those always start out with a 3-year contract, and then if they continue to be successful, they add more seasons to them. Judy Moody is a pretty big series to begin with. There are 17 volumes in the main Judy Moody chapter book series. There are 14 volumes in the Stink series. There are 4 holiday specials with Judy Moody and Stink together. And there's also a 16-volume series of picture books for younger kids called Judy Moody and Friends. And that's a total of 51 books. Now, the average animated series for children usually releases about 13 half-hour shows per year, per season. Like, just a rule of thumb, I like to consider one season 13 episodes. So, how are they going to incorporate these books into half-hour episodes? Because the books range anywhere from like 60 pages to 200 pages. Assuming that they would make the Judy Moody chapter books into like 2-part episodes, like two 22-minute episodes totaling 45 minutes, and perhaps they could make the Stink book just each Stink book one 22-minute episode, as well as the Judy and Stink specials could also be like an hour long. And if they made the Judy Moody and Friends stories 11-minute episodes, if you add all that up and do the math, that could be like a total of 65 half-hour shows. Like 5 seasons, a complete 5-season series. And that's not even including all the new original series that they could possibly write exclusively for television. But if they were going to devote the entire show to book adaptations alone, they've already got enough material to make the show last at least 5 years! Like, this could be the next Arthur. It really might be. It really might be. Will it last 25 years like Arthur did? I don't know about that, but absolute minimum, if they adapt all the books, it's gonna last at least 5 years. And if they do lots of new original ones, like, mixed in with that, we're talking close to a decade here. This, if people like it, if people receive it well, if they do it right, this could be a very long-running show. I honestly don't know how Arthur managed to last 25 seasons. I mean, that show's got a lot of mixed reviews. Lots of people like it, some people don't, but it's very popular. They went like 250 episodes. Whether Judy Moody will go that far, I kind of doubt it, but it's got potential to become big. Which brings up another question. Like, if we're allowed to talk about Judy Moody and Stink collectively, they certainly got tons and tons of material to work with. But are they actually going to combine the Judy Moody and Stink series together into one animated series? Or are they going to do a Judy Moody show first that's just about her, and then if that becomes successful, are they going to give Stink his very own television show later? That's also a possibility. We shall see. Although I think the more likely scenario is that they might combine the two series together. Because when you think about shows like the 2000 version of Clifford the Big Red Dog, for instance, you got episodes focusing on Clifford and his dog friends Cleo and T-Bone, and you also have episodes focusing on Emily Elizabeth and her human friends like Charlie and Jenna. Because Judy Moody has her own set of friends. There's Rocky and Frank, Jessica, Amy and Amy, and all those kids. And Stink has his own set of friends. Sophia the Elves, Webster Gomez, Riley Rottenberger. Tons of great characters to work with. Judy Moody and Friends sort of is combining the two already. Like, there's each book in that series focuses on a different character. There's one about Rocky, one about Frank, one about Jessica, and some of the more recent ones, they did one with Stink and Webster, and the latest one was with Sophie and the Jason the Unicorn and everything. It was just released this year if you haven't read that one yet. What are they going to do, though, as far as Book 10? Book 10 is based on the movie, Judy Moody and the Nutbummer Summer. As far as copyrights go, does that story like specifically belong to the people who made that movie? I don't know, because Megan McDonald kind of tweaked up the story a little bit when she re-released it as part of the main book series. So maybe they can incorporate some of those stories into the new animated show. Like, they could potentially do an animated remake of Not Bummer Summer and try to do it a lot better. But if they do that, what they really ought to do is save that for the series finale. Because the Not Bummer Summer story creates a major continuity error. All the books before that and all the books after that take place with Judy in 3rd grade in Mr. Todd's class. Book 10 has her finishing that school year, her last day of school with Mr. Todd, and then she goes off and does her crazy summer thing. And then the books after that, she's back in school and back in Mr. Todd's class. Like, what? Like, how's that supposed to work? I guess one could assume that book 10 takes place after all the other books, like it's supposed to be the end of the series. But it gets even worse because in book 13, Judy Moody in the Bucket List, Judy mentions her summer dare list, like the list of all the cool stuff that she wanted to do in the summer. But she's still in 3rd grade in that book, so how could she have made that summer list? And I should read that again. Maybe she made the list ahead of time by a few months before that school year ended and then revealed the dare list to her friends? I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing to think about. But yeah, assuming that dare list is left over from after she did all that summer stuff, and then her being in Mr. Todd's class in 3rd grade again, that makes no sense. That's like the epitome of continuity errors. So, writers of the new animated series, if you're watching this, take notes. Don't make that same mistake, please. Which network is the show going to be on? Another interesting question. I mean, first of all, is it going to be on a live broadcast channel? Or is it going to be some subscriber exclusive thing on one of the streaming platforms? Judy Moody is really unique because it's like specifically designed for the tween audience, like the preteen audience. On television, it seems like every cartoon is either for preschoolers or for young adults. Like there's very little in between, with the exception of Arthur, of course. Like it's really hard to find shows for that kind of age group. Nickelodeon might pick it up, because Judy Moody does have a little bit of toilet humor, especially in the first book. Like they invent the Toad Pee Club, where a toad sits on your hand and pees on it, and you join the club and everything. And then they did that weird prank where they stuck the rubber hand in the toilet and Stink got scared and everything. I mean, that stuff sounds very Nickelodeon because they specialize in that kind of really gross stuff. But then again, well, yeah, they're still into that today because I watched a little bit of Big Nate last night and there was tons of that in there. So, Nickelodeon might be good for Judy Moody. I'm not sure about Disney Channel because That's a perfect example. Like, there's two opposite extremes on Disney Channel. They got Disney Junior, where they got the preschool shows like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Bluey, Doc McStuffins, Sophie the First, um, what was the other one? Fancy Nancy. They got all those. Fancy Nancy is based on a book, by the way. They got those on the one hand, but on the other hand, they've got the adult cartoons like Kim Possible and Gravity Falls and Amphibia, The Owl House, and Star versus the Forces of Evil, and that kind of stuff. Like, Disney Junior seems like a little bit too young for Judy Moody, but the other, like, regular Disney Channel stuff for older kids seems like a little too old for Judy Moody. The only show I can think of that would be somewhere in between might be Phineas and Ferb. If they put Judy Moody alongside Phineas and Ferb, that could be a possibility. I don't know. We shall see. Uh, PBS Kids could work. Arthur needs some friendly competition. It really does. Because that's the only like real show for older kids that they have besides like Wild Kratts and Odd Squad and Cyber Chase and that kind of thing. I think Judy Moody would be great for PBS because it's got a lot of educational stuff in it. It's like lots of themes about science and nature and a little bit of history and geography and math too. Judy Moody covers a wide variety of themes. It almost seems a little too educational for Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, so maybe PBS will be better. Yeah, it's a very unique book. I'm not quite sure which network will pick it up because the news article in Animation Magazine or any of the other articles, none of them have said anything about which network is going to be carrying it. So, like, maybe it'll be more like a syndicated show. Like, it won't, like, the copyrights won't be owned by a specific network. It'll just be owned by the people who made the show, and then anybody could air it. Which means they might have a few episodes available on YouTube when it comes out. Streaming platforms. Will Netflix carry it? Or Peacock? Apple TV. I think Apple TV would be phenomenal place for Judy Moody. I recently bought a subscription for Apple TV Plus. What Apple TV has done with their children's programs in recent years, especially shows based off of children's books, absolutely mind-blowing. They've done an incredible job with that stuff. They've done shows like Frog and Toad, Harriet the Spy, El Defo, Amber Brown, and The Snoopy Show, of course. The Snoopy Show is probably my least favorite out of those. I prefer the 80s Charlie Brown Snoopy Show better. But all the other ones they've done, Amber Brown is actually a live action show. It's a 10-part miniseries, very different from the original book series, but still very good. They really modernized Amber Brown for like a more current audience. Like they took out all the gross out humor and made a bunch of changes, but I think most of the changes were for the best when they did for Amber Brown. El Defo, based on the graphic novel by C.C. Bell. It's like a three-part TV movie, but absolutely adorable what they did with El Defo, one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Frog and Toad, they actually managed to make Frog and Toad better than the book. I couldn't believe it. It was even better than the claymation shorts that came out in the 80s, which is crazy because when I was a kid, I loved John Matthews' claymation films, but they made significant improvements to the classic Frog and Toad stories that I grew up with. That was surprisingly excellent. But the biggest shocker of all on Apple TV was Harriet the freaking Spy. I don't even like that book, but somehow they managed to turn it into an awesome show. And Harriet the Spy is the best preteen slice of life show that I think we've had since Pepper Ann. Harriet the Spy is about an 11-year-old girl who lives in New York City in the 60s, and she wants to be a writer, and to do that, she thinks the best way to learn about people and come up with interesting things to write about them is to spy on them. So, like, in the original book, she goes on all kinds of crazy adventures, spying on her friends and neighbors, and writing down stories about them. And there is a little bit of that on this show, but what fascinated me the most was that they were able to expand her story and talk about, or rather showcase, her everyday life with her family and friends and all the stuff she's dealing with at school. That's the kind of stuff that I like. But unfortunately, it kind of backfired for a lot of people because they were expecting Harriet the Spy to be like this super exciting, epic spy show with lots of action, suspense, and that kind of stuff. I mean, there is a little bit of that, but not a whole lot. They kind of leaned more towards the slice of life concept, similar to like Pepper Ann and Doug and Arthur and that kind of thing. But personally, I think it works, and I think Apple TV's rendition of Harriet the Spy far exceeds the quality of the original book. So I have a feeling that Apple TV has anything to do with Judy Moody, I know they're going to come through because they've made some awesome stuff in the last few years. So yeah, there's tons of possibilities with how this Judy Moody show could play out. I hope they don't just do some dinky little one and done 10-part miniseries just adapting a few little stories here and there from the books. I hope they go all out with this and like do everything, because I really enjoy comparing books to TV shows and see what they kept the same, see what they changed, and see which one's better. And yeah, we really need a lot more good slice of life shows for the 8 to 12-year-old. My dream is to create one of my own someday, but if other people can do that, so I can get a much better idea of what's already being done and what needs to be done. I'm really excited that the people behind Judy Moody are willing to give that a try. Because, like I mentioned before, I like the Charlie Brown and Stimpy show from the 80s. I like the original Nickelodeon version of Doug. Pepper Ann's a lot of fun. And Harriet the Spy is awesome. Those are my 4 favorites preteen slice of life shows. I'm trying to think, are there any other books that should be adapted into a television series or at least a movie? If I was going to pick any book series at all and create a show of my own that's not based on a book that I've written, I would probably pick Pee-wee Scouts by Judy Delton. That was a 40-volume paperback chapter book series which ran from 1988 to 2000, which is, oddly enough, the same year that Judy Moody started. And it's about this group of kids. It's sort of like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts put together, but a little bit younger. And they go on all kinds of adventures, like learning things and helping in the community. If I was going to make a show based on that, I would give it a really retro 80s vibe with classic 2D animation and cool music and stuff like that. I doubt if that's ever going to happen in real life, though, because those books have been out of print for a while. The ebooks are still around, but they're not in print anymore, and hardly anybody even realized that those exist. But one could dream. Judy B. Jones. I don't know. Uh, yeah, Judy B. Jones is one of those books and characters that I thoroughly enjoy as an adult, but it would not have been too suitable for me when I was a kid, because Judy B is not a role model. She's an entertainer. They've done a lot of like musical stage plays based on those books. In fact, Judy Moody has their own stage play as well, based on the Mad Mad Treasure Hunt Judy and Stink book. Yeah, Judy B. Jones might be a interesting show to watch as an adult, but I'm not sure I would let my kids watch it. Amelia Bedelia? We're way overdue for an Amelia Bedelia TV show. I've wanted to see one of those for years. Whether it be about like the original version with the housemaid or the new version with the little girl, regardless, that's the kind of humor I like. Those kinds of word plays and innocent misunderstandings, I find that very entertaining. I would love to see an Amelia Bedelia TV show. I'm surprised nobody has ever attempted that because those books have been around forever. Like, even Weston Woods has never made any films based on those books. Somebody really ought to. Although, it might be a little bit. Like, in those books, nobody calls her Amelia, they just call her Amelia Bedelia. To hear the name Amelia Bedelia 50,000 times per episode might get a little bit annoying. But on Clifford, they call Emily Elizabeth just Emily once in a while. So maybe if they do an Amelia Bedelia show, they'll just call her Amelia. Who knows? But that would be a great possibility. I would definitely watch that if they ever make a show based on that. Also, The Adventures of Sophie Mouse by Poppy Green. Those little Simon & Schuster chapter books for young readers. My mom was a huge fan of those. She loved them. Very cute stories. It's about a mouse and her little animal friends, and it's like everything is kind of, how do you say it, scaled up, scaled down, like she lives in the bottom of a tree trunk, I think, or well, I know somebody does. But anyway, these characters are small and the forest around them is huge. That'd be a really cool perspective to see in a cartoon. And it's very Eleanor Wonders Why-esque. Like, if there's any fans of Eleanor Wonders Why out there, I highly recommend you read the Sophie Mouse books, because they're great. Speaking of which, my favorite ongoing cartoons right now are Eleanor Wonders Why and Carl the Collector, both of which are on PBS. My other two favorites, which are like streaming shows, are not really ongoing shows, are Harry the Spy and Frog and Toad, but those are my top 4 shows right now. Ramona, there actually is a Ramona TV show that was made in 1989, I believe. That was also a 10-part miniseries made for PBS. It was actually produced by the creators of Reading Rainbow, believe it or not. And what makes it even more interesting is that they released a behind-the-scenes book of that Ramona TV show, and that was one of the reviewed books on the Reading Rainbow episode where they went behind the scenes of Star Trek. So the book is called Ramona, Behind the Scenes of a Television Show, and of course the TV show is just called Ramona. But yeah, Ramona fans, go look for that on YouTube. You should check that out. It's a great show. I haven't seen the movie yet, Ramona and Beezus, the Disney movie. I should check that out sometime, see if it's any good. Clementine. I don't know about animation, but I think Clementine would have made a great live action show. You know who should have played Clementine? Violet Tenorello. She was that girl that was on the live action segment on Cyber Chase, and she was also on Sesame Street for a while. Still is, I think. She would have made a perfect Clementine. She really looks the part. She's got the hair and everything. Unfortunately, she's probably a little too old for the role now, but I would have really liked to see her play Clementine. And the Waylon spin-off series, it's a trilogy. The first book was okay. The second one was the best. Waylon even more awesome. The third one I have mixed feelings about, but Waylon's a really cute story. They could make a nice TV movie or little mini series about that, so that'd be interesting. Dork Diaries. I think Dork Diaries would make an awesome anime, believe it or not. Like with that Japanese animation style with the facial expressions and everything. That's a really popular series. Nikki Maxwell is a hilarious character. And her friends Chloe and Zoe are a lot of fun too. Mackenzie Hollister, of course, is really annoying, but for the most part, Nikki is able to work her way around that and find out ways to have fun in middle school. I don't like the spin-off series, though. The Misadventures of Max Crumbly, those were really dumb. I'm not a fan of that. You know who should have got their own spin-off series? Which Dark Darkest character? Brandon! Brandon is the real deal. He's Nikki Maxwell's boyfriend. Brandon Roberts, he's the kind of guy who doesn't try to pretend to be somebody he isn't just to get Nikki's attention or anybody else's attention. No, no, no. He is genuinely a good guy. He always is respectful to his friends. He's very kind. And the way he loves Nikki, he doesn't. He's not into like the way she looks or the way her hair is or the way her clothes are or what she can do. Brandon loves Nikki as a person. And that is phenomenal. I really want to see Brandon get his own book because he would make a great role model for adolescent boys. But no, we got this Max Crumbly doofus instead. Uh, Rachel Renee Russell, if you're watching this, please write down some ideas for a Brandon series. We're ready for it. We really need that. Amelia Rules! That's what I'm wearing on my shirt right now. Amelia Rules by the legendary cartoonist Judy Moody. We're getting into graphic novels now. That's a whole story in itself. I should do a separate video on that. Amelia Rules is, in my opinion, the greatest graphic novel series ever made. He uses all kinds of really clever, creative methods to tell really interesting stories. I don't know how it would look on television, but believe it or not, he actually tried to get his comics on TV at one point, but the deal fell through. The networks didn't feel it was right for their audience because apparently they were more interested in selling merchandise than telling good stories. You can hear more about that story on Jimmy Galney's interview on the Paper Wings podcast, which is also here on YouTube. But yeah, if they ever do an Amelia Rules movie or TV show, that's absolutely something I would watch. I don't know if Jimmy Galney is still interested in that or not, but we'll see. The Babysitters Club. We got a Babysitters Club movie in the 90s. I watched that. That was really good. The Netflix series is a little controversial. I haven't seen that, so I'm not sure if I want to or not. I think the Babysitters Club should be a cartoon show. The Netflix series is live action. The reason I think Babysitters Club should be animated is because the whole reason Babysitters Club has such a huge resurgence in popularity in the last 10 years is because of the graphic novels. Those graphic novels are gorgeous. Beautifully drawn, lots of bright colors, a lot of fun to read, very cute characters. If they animate those and put them on television, that's another show that would be on my watch list for sure. The Sunny Side Up series by Jennifer Holm, who is also the creator of Baby Mouse. I've read Baby Mouse too. I'm not a huge fan of that. But the Sunny books, I think it's Sunny Side Up, Swing It Sunny, Sunny Makes a Splash, and a few others. They take place in the 70s. That'd be a cool mini-series to see in animation. Not Enough by Maria Scrivon. Probably the most kid-friendly preteen graphic novels I've ever read in my life. Natalie's a very cool character, and her stories are really cute as well. They've also got this dog and cat character. I forget their names, but they kind of remind me of Sizzle and Nuzzle from The Puzzle Place. I mean, I didn't watch The Puzzle Place when I was little. I was only 2 years old when it went off the air, so I wouldn't have remembered it. But I have seen some of The Puzzle Place on YouTube, and it looks like a pretty good show. I wish I would have been able to see some of it when I was like 8, 9, or 10. But if they make Not Enough live action, they could make the dog and cat character into puppets. That would be fun. They probably won't go that direction, though. If they do Not Enough, it'll probably be 100% animated, which would be great, too. Emmy and Friends. Those books are also great. Really creative storytelling there by Terry Libenson. Some of those books have some controversial content, but most of them are very well done. What's great about uh, Emmy and Friends is that each book is about a different character, and it's like two stories at once. Like, half of the book focuses on one character, and it keeps switching back and forth between chapters of like one character and this character's friend, and they show the two different perspectives. That would be really cool to see on TV in an animated cartoon. Rip and Red? I haven't read Rip and Red in a long time. That would be a good show for boys based on those books. It's about these two basketball players. One of them is on the autism spectrum, just like I am. So that'd be really cool. One more I can think of off the top of my head. Katie Kazoo Switcheroo. I just started reading those recently. It's about this girl who magically transforms into like different people and different animals and like understands like their point of view. Like she finds out what it's like to be her best friend's baby brother, or what it's like to be the class pets, or just all kinds of crazy things like that. Those books are so funny. That would make another great TV show. Okay, well, I've rambled long enough here. But that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that for whatever it's worth. And for those of you who don't have any idea who the heck I am, I'll say it again. I am the author and illustrator of Meet Zoe Richards. This is my debut children's novel. It's 250 pages, but it also has full color illustrations, as you can see here. I wrote and illustrated the whole thing myself. It's inspired by my childhood growing up with autism, but it's a fictional story. There's a character named Joshua. I'm one of the characters in it, but all the other characters are fictional, and it's told from Zoe's perspective mostly. So it's a really fun book. It is available through many online retailers in both paperback and ebook, like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com. If you don't have the cash for it right now, you can go to my YouTube channel and I have some free read aloud videos. Just click on that and I will read the entire book for you, like one chapter per video. And I also put the illustrations on screen for you so you can take a good look at those as well. I do other stuff here on my YouTube channel as well. I do tours of malls and department stores and a bunch of random fun stuff like that. And also my little TV spot on Fox 43 News at 10 when I participated in a local author event at the Cruz Creek Public Library in York, Pennsylvania. That's on there too. So, all kinds of fun stuff on my YouTube channel. It's slowly growing. Don't know how many views this particular video will get, but considering that nobody else on the face of YouTube has said anything about the Judy Moody animated series, it's kind of mind-blowing to think that I'm going to be the first to say anything about it, so... Anyway, hope you guys enjoy that. I will see you later with some other kind of video. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts about Judy Moody and what you would like to see on the upcoming animated series. I don't work for the show, so I can't really tell them anything about it, but if anybody who works on this show watches this video, maybe they can take some notes and make their upcoming project even better.